Hello everyone, thank you for watching another episode of Vegan Police TV. My name's Cameron Blewett, I'm the host, the talking head, the rant, the commish, whatever you want to say about Vegan Police TV. Now, I also blog on veganpolice.com.au. We'll be relaunching the podcast, which this YouTube stuff is sort of more to supplement the podcast. Gives me a bit of a chance to have a rant about things and everything like that. So one of the things that I mentioned a couple of times is that I'm not a fan of political parties. So I thought I would take this episode to share some of my thoughts on why I'm not a fan of political parties, and why I don't believe that vegans, once they become politically active and politically aware, and that's the thing, politically aware, because you can pretend you're politically active. Oh, I hold up AJP signs. I went and volunteered at the polling booth on election day and whatever stuff. That's not politically active. That's just volunteering. So anyway, digressing again. So yes, my reason for not supporting political parties, and why I think that every vegan should vote for an independent as their primary and secondary vote, comes from the fact is that if you have a look at the way that politics is run in this country now, I can't speak for other countries because I'm not aware of how the political systems work overseas. Australia is what I know. This is what I'm aware of, and this is what I'm passionate about. So with regards to that, so when you have a look at the political processes, if you have a look at political parties where the media has led us to believe that we vote for a two-party preferred, so it's either the Liberal Party or the Liberal Party, National Party, the Coalition, or the Labor Party. Now, they believe, the media has led us to believe that they are the only two political parties that will have any sort of impact. If some of the viewers are old enough to remember Don Chip in the back of the days of the Australian Democrats, the whole the tagline of the Democrats was keeping the bastards honest, because they were a third party, so that they would not traditionally, that they normally had control of the Senate. So it was depending on whoever had control of the Senate would have to rely on a couple of crossbench votes from those guys, because they had the control in the Senate. So with that, so it's still a political party. Now, the Democrats fell in a humongous heap. I think the death knell for them was Meg Lee's signing up for oopsie doozies. We got roadworks up here. Big diggers and everything like that. There must have been a water main burst. Water all over the road. They're digging a humongous hole in the road, or they've just finished. So, what was I saying? Yes. So Meg Lee's getting on board with John Howard with the goods and services tax, so the GST. So that was pretty much the death knell for them, because the community was against it. They, did a backroom deal. Well, Meg Lee's did a backroom deal with John Howard to get the GST through. That's why we got the GST here. So now, when they fell, sort of the Greens popped up, which is sort of another left-leaning political party. They like to think that they're becoming the third voice of Australian politics. Who knows? They're not really the third voice. They're just more along the lines of a bit more of a more leftist version of Labor Party, and that's why if you have a look at things, that there's a lot of unions, a lot of trade unions in Australia, because there's a lot of left-leaning trade unions, and they are starting to support the Greens more than they are the Labor Party, because the Labor Party's going back on their roots. They're not leaning more towards the left. They're becoming more centrist in their policies and the way that they do things. So bit of a background and discussion there. So talking a bit further with regards to that, now why I don't support political parties is that when you have a look at political parties, is that who controls the way that the person votes. So let's say you live in the electorate of Brisbane, you've voted in Kit Walker. You voted Kit Walker in as your elected representative for the seat of Brisbane in state parliament, federal parliament. It doesn't matter. Who controls them? If they're in the Labor Party, well, they vote along party lines. Same as if they're in the Liberal Party or the National Party. They vote along party lines, and that's where the thing is. They vote along party lines. They don't vote for the electorate. Now, this is the thing. When you elect someone, you elect them to be your representative. That's why the lower house is called the House of Representatives. In Canberra it is. It's a member of legislative assemblies in other states in the Legislative Council. Not sure about the territories because they're not really self-governing. They just sort of have more of that. I think they're more of a social council, so local government structure. So anyway, where was I going with that? So this is the thing. They're not voting as per the electorate. They're voting as per party guidelines. Now, regardless of what the bill is, there's very few times that a party politician will cross the floor and go and vote with the opposition, because crossing the floor is pretty much political suicide. Unless it's something that the leader of the party has given a conscience vote and all that sort of stuff. Most of the time, I mean, have a look at the ban live exports, live export campaigns. There were a couple of Labor politicians who were vocal supporters, vocal opponents of it, saying that yes, live export should be ended, should no longer be banned, or should be banned, no longer export live animals overseas. I think it was Melissa Parks and can't remember the guy's name. And they were all saying, this and that, and all the animal groups loved him. We've got to support this person, we've got to support that person. Hang on, how did they vote when the bill came out? There was two bills presented. One was presented by Nick Xenophon, and one was presented by someone else. I can't remember who the other politician was. Was it Adam Band? The Greens in the House of Reps in federal parliament? Anyway, I'm not sure because it was that long ago. I've completely forgotten about it. So these politicians, they didn't cross the floor to vote with that. They followed the party guidelines and voted with the party. So it was an overwhelming loss because it didn't get up because everyone voted against it. And this is the thing. So that's the thing, is that you can vote someone in. They may say, yes, I'm going to be this. I'm going to be tough on crime. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get this through whatever, blah, blah, blah. When push comes to shove, they can only do as much as the party will let them do. If let's say there was some piece of legislation that was going to benefit, talking about Brisbane, out in the suburbs of Brisbane, you've got all these people that you voted in. There was a piece of legislation that was there that was going to be bad for one area, but then again, it was going to be good for the other areas. All the politicians just vote along party lines. You wouldn't have, better stop there, there's a train coming. And so that's the thing, is that this is what happens with it, is that they're voting along party lines. They're not voting as per the electorate. So that's why I don't support party politicians. That's why I don't support party politics. And I also believe that the Australian Constitution is written in a way that being a member of a party and actually voting along party lines and following what the directions that the party gives you is actually against the Constitution, because there's a little clause in it that says a senator or the member can't be what is it? Can't be under the influence of a foreign power. So, and that's the thing, is that what do you take a foreign power as? Now, traditionally, people look at it nowadays and think that the foreign power is the people overseas and all that sort of stuff, whereas it's not. When you have a look at the way that the Constitution was written, and it's written for a whole lot of independence, a foreign power is anyone outside of that electorate. So that was interesting. A cop car nearly went through the red lights on the train line, so he did stop because all the other cars stopped. So anyway, so what was I saying? So yes, So that's the thing, is that, you know, this is the thing. You'd have more ability to control an independent, no matter whether they're a dyed-in-the-wool meat eater or not, than you would of controlling a party politician, because with the independent, they're reliant on the people within that electorate to get them into the next election. So they're going to do whatever they can, and it's up to the individuals, the voters in that electorate, to become politically active and politically aware, so they're aware and they can organise other people in the electorate. So let's say you've got 30,000, 40,000 members, people in that electorate. I mean, I'm not sure what the total numbers are on the different electorates. If you can get signatures from 5 or 10,000 of them, or even 2,000, take it to the independent and say, hey, listen, this is what the people in your electorate want. This is what the people they say, we want you to vote against that bill, or we want you to present or create a private members bill for whatever. And even if it is against what they believe, they're still sort of in a way, I wouldn't say, are they compelled? Well, yes, because the electorate's spoken. So they're more likely to be influenced by what the electorate says, because they're relying on the electorate to vote them in at the next election. So yes, this is the thing, is that I'd love to draw PowerPoints and have a big whiteboard and draw things and all that sort of stuff to make it sense. And I might create a PowerPoint presentation or do a little bit of a slideshow and talk about it a bit more. But this is the thing, is that this is why we need to become politically aware as well as becoming politically active, because it's only through the awareness can we be sure that the activity that we're doing has a greater impact. Just saying, hey, yeah, vote Greens and vote Green because they're the ones that are going to save you. Well, no, they're not going to save you. I mean, have a look. What's his name? The Greens founder, Dr. Bob Brown. He wants an aerial cull of brumbies or deers, aerial cull of deer in Tasmania. And yet he's also the one who is also doing stuff for sea shepherds. So killing whales by boat is bad. Killing deer by helicopter is good. This is the thing. This is why you can't rely on it. Who was it? The ACT. I think they were controlled by the Greens last couple of years ago, or last year, or whenever it was. They're the ones who brought in the kangaroo cull in the ACT. So don't believe that just because they're Greens and they've got a warm and fuzzy sounding name, it's not. That's what they are. Animal Justice Party is the same. Mark has come out in a little bit of a strong language in their submission to the inquiry, or to the consultation period for the proposed Brumby cull in New South Wales. Though that's a submission that probably had ages to prepare. Yet you have a look at the speech that he did on greyhound racing. That's not language by someone. The language that he used by someone who is actively campaigning for justice for other animals. It's language of the oppressor, and I have ranted about that in a previous episode, so I'm not going to rant about it too much. This is the thing. We need to become politically aware. We need to become politically motivated and politically passionate. It concerns me. We need to become aware of what the different levels do of government in Australia. We need to be aware of that and how to influence. So that's my thoughts. I mean, I know it's a bit of a tangent on that one. Politics, it's one of those things that I'm passionate about. It just it's like industrial relations, because that's what I do for a job. It excites me. It gets me out of bed. Because there's always things that unless you're talking to a dyed-in-the-wool, and this dyed-in-the-wool, a one-eyed AJP supporter or Liberal Party supporter or something like that, there's a good chance that you can have a good discussion with them. Unfortunately, with the Animal Justice Party supporters, you haven't got a snowball's chance in Hades of having an open discussion with them about opening their mind about anything, because they just believe it's animals. So the Animal Justice Party is there for the animals. So anyway, I'll leave that one with you. Thanks for watching. Apologies about the rant. I do fly off on tangents with politics and all that sort of stuff. But if you're a regular watcher of these clips, then you know I fly off on tangents with a lot of things. So anyway, thank you for watching. My name is Cameron Blewett. This was another episode of TV, and remember, oops, dropped it. There's my remote. So remember, don't fear the vegan police. We're here to help. Bye for now.